All right, this is the RMX third best post race show brought to you by Broke Amateur Racing. We are here in Clarkston, Utah for round 8 of the summer series at 80 acres. This is round 2 of the Triple Crown and round 5 of North and South combined. We got Garrett, Paul, Broke Amateur Racing, Joe Horner, Rooster Racing, myself, Chase Adams, Broke Amateur Racing. We have Gary and Coy Bruff with the RMX Series. We're going to go into some 50cc motos. What do you got, Gary?
Well, I mean, to start with, the 50 motos are usually Sawyer Geek Show, but Rai had been coming on all year, but no Sawyer this weekend. So it was kind of fun because Rai was out front, but there was some little dudes that surprised me. Like 50 open, you had Asher Taylor. Like, Asher was rolling. If people watch motos, Asher rode really well. Sharon is going well. Chance is going well. But do you have the results there for the 50s? Because something that caught me off guard was the advanced 50s. You know, so be it. Like, there's a lot of them. But it's back to the beginners again. Like, we had 39 beginners practice at Preston. We had like 27 50cc beginners practice out there yesterday. So we'd mix some things up, right? We said no parents on the track.
It was awesome.
I think it's better for the little kids. We're not picking on any parents. The water trucks need to move around. You know, it's 95, 100 degrees out there. The water trucks need to move around. When Jamie needs to get to a crash, Jamie being our safety guy or any of our safety guys, the last thing we need is a parent ran over, right? And so, we mixed it up and said no parents on the track. It went great in practice. We started a little intern program. We brought in some of the advanced 85 riders, put them in the passenger seat of the side-by-sides. Those kids rode 50s like 2 years ago. They know how to start them better than we do. And I thought Friday was the smoothest 50 process we had. Some little dudes are crying, I want my dad. Sweet, let's start your bike. Do a lap. He'll be at the mechanics area. By the time they got to the mechanics area, they weren't crying. They didn't want dad. They just kept going. So it worked.
Yeah.
I do think that, Coy, you pointed this out. I've seen it. There's a group of little dudes that I think we need to introduce that they're telling you thank you before you pick them up. So, Coy, roll your posse in here. They're your size.
So these are our little guys. What's your name?
Corbin Jones.
What's your name?
Paxton.
Daxton Sweeten.
Shad Sweeten.
Shad? Shad Sweeten. Daxton here, 244 on a P-dub. Every time I run to him, he tells me thank you before I even get there. He's the nicest little guy out there on the track. Before I even get to him, he's yelling thank you for picking his bike up. So I just wanted to shout that out.
I think you have to give props to these little dudes because they're tiny, right? They're riding 4 to 6 bikes. They crash. They're not looking for someone to come running. They're trying to pick up their dirt bikes. Like, I saw these 3 little dudes in the pits, and I wanted to grab them because they're constantly yelling, thank you, thanks for picking up my bike. And then at the same time, they're trying to pick up their dirt bikes. And I just think it's good for our sport. And the 50 racing as a whole, it's just safer. It's just these little dudes get rolling and pick up their dirt bikes and get going.
You know, and if you look at this track and the layout and you compare it to other tracks, so maybe it's a lot more spread out. So it seemed like, man, we got water trucks, we got this, we got that. There's some logistical issues on not having, and that's what you mentioned. But really, you know, these guys, this whole motocross thing is about growing as an individual. It's about learning things alone. It's about making it work on your own. And that's what's going on, right? You send them out there, starting gate drops, these kids are on their own. And as hard as it is for a parent to turn your kid loose, that's really what we all like about motocross, right, is that. And so when you turn them loose and they get to go out there, they're interacting with other adults, with other young people, you know, in a safe way. You can see them, and there's no other race with the kind of entries that we have here that they would ever let you out there. So we might as well just get used to it. That's why there's people on quads. It'd be different if there was no one out there, right? If you didn't send anybody out to help, and we've been to races like that. Years ago, we went to a regional, 50s laying all over the track, no one helping them, you know, piling into them. That's not like that here. They got plenty of help.
There was 23 and 50 beginner open on Saturday, and there was 6 quads.
How old are you guys?
6.5. 4.
Yeah.
4?
A 4-year-old.
So 6, 6.5, and 4.
A 4-year-old went up and down those hills. Like, that's impressive. Yeah. Yeah, like, I had to put the Can-Am in
Both
4-wheel
6 and a
drive to
half.
get up some of those faces. Like, they are steep, right? So the little guys are out there. Let's get your guys' insight. Like, what's your favorite part of the track?
The jumps.
Which jump?
The finish line.
What about you? What's your favorite?
The whoops. The finish line.
So
Why
finish
is
line,
the
whoops,
finish
and
line
finish
your
line.
favorite?
Because?
That's where you get to get off the track and go get a snow cone? It's my favorite. That's where I go for snow cones. We love it. Thank you, little dudes, for showing up. Thank you for coming out and racing. We have like a month off, and then we're back at Preston. You guys have seen the little... Where'd my poker chips go? So you guys have seen the little retail store over there. So don't lose these between now and then. Coy, give them each 2 of those. You can use those at the retail store to go get you some hats, some T-shirts. Hold on to those, and you can spend them at the next race just like money on a new T-shirt, new hats. You can take those and get what you want. Even toy dirt bikes. They have toy dirt bikes over there. I just handed you something you cannot spend for a month. You guys do not look pumped with me. I apologize, but it'll be worth it in a month. Awesome. Okay, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you
dudes.
very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
See ya.
We'll see you guys. But see, that's what it's all about,
Yeah, it's cool.
right? That's
I-
cool.
I thought the 50 racing was a lot better because, like you said, there wasn't a million parents you're trying to look through. There wasn't parents crossing the track to help one downed rider and then ruining another little kid's race, and just ran a lot smoother.
And completely abnormal to 50 racing. When I look at the results, we had consistency. Rai went 1-1. Last week we talked about his 12-2 to qualify for Loretta's. Rai went 1-1. Shoemaker went 2-2. Sharon went 3-3. Taylor 4-4. Jet Rao 6-5. McCoy Luke 7-7. Ammon Silva's 8-8. Like, honestly, that's abnormal.
Yeah.
Like, and this track was gnarly, right? The 50 should have been crashing a bunch. Like, bikes should have failed. So to have those type of results in the 50 racing, I'm pumped. They're out here. It's good for the sport. So we're bouncing around a little bit. We get a little sidetrack, but those little guys need to hit the road, so we need to grab them early. And we just wanted to hear those thank yous, like it's literally in their helmets. Thank you. Thank you for picking me up. So, yeah. Now I've
All right.
got you off of your flow. You're not following your wife's board. So
Oh.
let's see how you can recover.
Well, just talking about consistency we have in the 50cc race, and what does that have to do with track conditions, track prep? There's never been a race here. I think this facility, 80 acres, has been open 2 years, maybe
I think they opened last year
last
in
year.
the spring. So this was it? You're right. You're right. We had these guys on our schedule, and then with COVID, we reworked everything. So, yeah, we did have them out. But this is the first time they've had some good public practices, maybe 100 bikes, 140 at the most. This is the first time this property has seen a large number of bikes. And so I think it was good for everyone. Mike Cardall, track owner, he came out. He raced his dirt bike. Guy rolls. Like, Cardall rolls. So he got to see some stuff. I think there was 42 loads of sand put on it. You could see that on Friday. By Sunday, you didn't even know there was any sand. But that's just clay swallowing sand. It's no different than Preston. When we started Preston 15 years ago, it was this hard-packed, slick clay. 15 years later, 60-plus loads of sand per year. You know, we have good dirt. And this layout, this elevation, and Mike Cardall putting in the work, it's going to be a good place for us for a long time.
Yeah.
So
Sure is beautiful sitting here,
But-
way out here in the middle of nowhere.
But I do think, I think in the morning it was soft, it was unpredictable, it was inconsistent. We haven't seen hard-packed clay ruts like in RMX for a long time. And for a 50 rider, it was just get in the groove, and they're fine, right? I mean, it really was a little slot car-ish at times, especially for a 50. So maybe that had something to do with the consistency. I don't know, but they didn't have the big crashes.
What did you think, Joe? You rode it.
My favorite jump was the finish line. Just like those kids.
Yeah.
It was really fun. So yeah, it looks like Montana. This is the whole deal. You know, it's just like Montana, and you know we got fat clay here, that gray color stuff coming up, and that's what you got. Like you said, Preston's got it too. So it was good. Yeah, it had some technical stuff, and you know when you see it on TV and they water heavy and they talk about how it's slick at the beginning of the moto, and then they kind of shut up about it, and then they race the rest of the moto. You know, you can do the same thing. I think High Point would probably be just like this. But the difference is it's got to be maintained throughout the day. So you're going to have to deal with the watering on and off. And, you know, I think that, like Gary said, this is his first big one. And, you know, he can certainly improve, and we all can. And I think there's a half a dozen things that could be done to make it a way better racetrack. But, yeah, you can't beat the rolling terrain and, you know, track we haven't been to.
Yeah, I think a lot of guys really like the flow of the track. And then even, I thought today, you know, the first Open Pro Moto, I was out there filming, running across. I thought the track was really, really good. It was very tacky. It seemed like a lot better shaped lines. Everything just seemed like everyone was rolling. They were just moving.
And I think, in all fairness, like every track we go to, you know, Saturday's better than Friday. And Sunday's better than Saturday. And it's just moisture. You get more moisture in. Brandon Susi came over here. Pud had been here for 10 days pre-watering this thing, right? But typically RMX has an open practice at a track the weekend before a race, and that is to drive more water into the ground. We dumped water on it, but dumping water on it and prepping it and dumping water on it and prepping it is different than just putting water on it. And in hindsight, like, I wished we would have tried to practice and or watered ripped instead of just water. Like, we watered ripped once as if it was a prep, and I think it showed. Like, we'll be the first to admit, like, the conditions weren't great, but they were pretty cool. Like, it wasn't for lack of effort, because Pud,
He was here I don't know how many hours from Monday. I think Sunday the week before.
Thursday the week before, he started coming over 6 hours in the evenings. By Monday, he was here 16 to 18 hours a day, and just dumping water into it. And it's new dirt to us, so we were pumped on how it did turn out, but we learned, and we're ready to do it again. And, you know, we get asked the question of, are you coming back? Yes, for sure. Like,
yeah, it'll only get better, right?
Oh, like, parking. We didn't have to help anyone park. You know, you want to build a horseshoe with your camp? How big? Let us help you, right?
Yeah.
It's not Preston where we're trying to cram you in. It's, it literally is like, it's called 80 acres. The track's on like 20. There's 60 acres of parking. Now, granted, we couldn't put water in the pits. Like, that was, the area's in a drought. There's limited water. The well is shallow. We'd outrun it every day. So we were hauling water from a secondary source to the property, plus using the well. And we needed every drop of water that we had for the track. So we had to suffer a little bit in the pits. We got that rainstorm Friday night.
And it felt great.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah, that helped with the pits. I don't know that it changed much on the track other than it made our water truck roads really slick as we tried to keep putting water down. But it definitely helped with the track, don't get me wrong. But, yeah, just a learning curve. But overall, the track prep, the track conditions,
Yeah,
I'll take it.
I thought the pits were great. I mean, it's so big. I mean, it's big enough to where kids could have a 110 Nationals way there in the back, and you guys didn't even know about it.
Oh, we know about it. It's just they were way in the back.
They were way out there. I don't even know. Is there a fence that marks the property here? Okay, I can't even see it.
Yeah, they're out there, but yeah.
No dust in the pits, so.
We would prefer that. That's the goal. Is If you're
Right.
making dust, you're going too fast,
Yeah.
right? So, but yeah, no, good weekend. And can't say enough about Mike Cardall letting us do this. He doesn't need to do this, like, right? This is just Cardall having some fun. And Utah motocross, this area, Cache Valley, is fortunate to have a guy like Mike Cardall because he's a stud and he's the one that brought this to us. And we'll be back.
Yeah. Everything's
So-
nice. Nice new fences. Everything's great. Mode pits.
What you don't realize is you got off track, and Joe looked at the whiteboard and steered us right back on track with track prep and conditions. You see it? Second one down.
I see
Yeah,
now.
yeah. You thought we were just like, oh, random track prep. No, Joe was helping you, Chase.
Yeah, that's why we bring him.
That's Joe. He's got notes.
Yes.
Yes. So
What's
now
that
you
word we
move to
used
the
to-
third one.
All right. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's talk about some riders and some race discussion. And moto breakdowns. Super Mini 2, 11 to 16. Do we want to save this? Are these guys going to come over here? Roll right through it. We got Cohen Jackman on the KTM going 2-1 for the overall. Trinity Bachelor 1-2. Henry Millicum, who was number 11 on the KTM, going 3-3. Austin Hyde 4-4. Yeah, Luke Daniels 6-5. A lot of pretty consistent.
Austin, roll over here and sit down on the cooler by Joe. Like, we stole Austin Hyde because there's some fast dudes on that list, right? And we talk on a regular basis about a lot of these dudes. We've talked about Cohen Jackman, Trini, Henry Millicum. Like, those guys have been up front. And there's a little dude on a number 14, Gas that's just kind of been chipping away. And I still remember talking to Austin 2 years ago, and the goal was to get a top 20. And then the goal was a top 10. And then I looked up today. He ripped a start and led Super Mini 1 for a lap before he took a dirt nap or sample. Not nap, just sample. But leading a lap of Super Mini is pretty cool. And having a 5 overall, 4 overall, whatever that is,
Yep,
4 or 5.
4-4, fourth overall.
On Saturday is pretty legit. So, Austin, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your riding, and we'll ask you some questions.
I'm Austin, number 14 on the Gas. It's fun to be out here riding. It's nice to come ride good RMX tracks and have good motos, and it's good.
What have you been doing to improve?
Putting in a lot of time on the bike, just training and riding at our house and doing whatever I can to just get better.
How old are you?
I'm 13.
And how many years you been riding Super Mini now?
I've been racing for 2 years.
Okay, on the big wheel.
He's been racing
no,
for
I
2
tried
years.
Racing for 2
Only.
years.
Oh,
Racing.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
killer.
yeah, like early candidate for most improved. Like, you
Wow.
gotta kind of, if you know the Austin Hyde, that's why I say 2 years ago, the goal was a top 20. Like 40 guys on the gate, the goal was a top 20. Why are you taking my fan?
Put it under his butt.
I feel like we're just gonna blow dirt on us now. Thanks, Sam. Thanks,
See
Sam.
what you did.
No. So, Austin, I mean, legitimately, you remember that conversation when your goal was a top 20?
No.
Like, you don't?
No.
I just remember, maybe it was with your dad. I just remember the fact that it was like, you got to finish motos and get a top 20. And now you're knocking on the doors of some top 5s.
Yeah.
So, the Let's Ride group helping you out. You got good dirt bikes.
Yeah.
Your dad's a good guy. You're like starts. Let's talk starts. You ripped starts today.
Yeah, I was top 3, top 5 in most starts. I got whole shotted the first 85 All-Star moto. But yeah, it was good. Just being as aggressive as I can into the first corner just helps a lot.
Aggression and you make me smile because you're like the nicest, softest kid, like in the pits in a good way. Like, I'm meaning that. And then I was watching you play foot down at the RMX Academy, and everyone is trying to finesse their way through foot down. That's stay in the square, gotta clutch the bike, balance. You can't put your foot down, you're out.
Right.
Bull in a china shop. Like, I'm going to win by intimidating you. Like, I can't touch you because the rules are you can't ram each other, but that doesn't mean I can't come in like I'm not going to. And so it came down to him and Gray Townsend every moto. And Gray got there in this sneaky kind of just don't get knocked over kind of way. Bull in a china shop. Straight aggression got him in the finals every single match. So I love that because that's just the Austin that you see around the pits and the Austin once he puts the helmet on.
Yeah.
I love that you have that switch, Austin. So that is cool. So congratulations. You're riding really
thank
well.
you.
Awesome.
But Joe's got some lap times here with 85s. I know, I'm guessing without even seeing it, Trini Bachelor had some of the fastest laps of the weekend, and Cohen Jackman.
Yeah, they did. So basically, like Austin, if we're looking at your lap time since how we got you up here, this looks for you. Say you got like a lap 3 at a 2:03, and then that same lap Cohen's at a 1:53. See, so that's the difference right now. So when you look at it and you say, man, that's a lot. That's like 10 seconds I got to make up. But your best to his best is not that much, So you're doing all right. You know what I mean? You're going to be okay. Those are numbers that you can work with. But when you look at Trinity, right? So Trinity's best in let's see, this is Moto 2 Super Mini 2. Like lap 3 was 1:53 to Cohen and a 1:55 to Trinity. But then even Trinity was 2 to 4 seconds off him. So Cohen earned that one, right? When you see lap times where the guy that wins has faster lap times all the way through, right? He deserves it. And a lot of times you can find some positives in those laps and say, look, yeah, but I was under him here, I was under him there. But these guys are where they're going to stack up. So there you are in fourth. You look at you against Henry Millicum. He's got you by 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and then you're dead even at the end of the moto. So you and Henry pushing to the end. But you're also getting close for you. Your fastest lap was your last lap. So, right, that makes you feel good. That's something you can hang your hat on. You gotta have those little things that says, look, I can push to the end. Once I get comfortable, I can do this, I can do that, and that's great. So that's stuff you can work on. There's good stuff for you in here.
I'm in to talk about the plus 20 BC.
Ooh, yeah.
Because he tried to blame you guys.
Oh, I would love to bring Sam in for this. I would love to.
Yeah.
Austin?
Are we blaming the starter guy here?
Oh, he tried to blame you, Coy.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Don't lose those, buddy.
Yeah.
Coy was not blamed at all.
He said you didn't give him the 1 and 2.
I didn't get the 1-2. He doesn't do it for anyone.
Did Megan tell you on the
Okay,
way
so
in?
hold on. When you
He
hold on.
he did
I have
bypass
Here's
Megan.
the first question. When you rolled into staging like a whole moto early
Oh,
to
boy.
get against the number, what were you told?
I was told to go straight to the line.
Because your
The
class was
2-minute
straight
board
on the
was
line.
already up.
I was definitely
So your first opportunity to get good information from Employee of the Year, Megan Horner, you bypassed her.
Megan was not there.
Probably because she was
she
staging
was
the
in my
next
hand.
moto of like 50 riders.
So she was moved on to Moto 2, and she doesn't have time for guys that are late for Moto 1, is what we just established.
I mean, it was my fault, Gary. We all know it. But I got to blame it on something other than myself.
Yeah, we're not backing down.
Was there a protest?
There was nothing to protest. I was in the first corner. I watched him leave on the first gate, and I shook my head. And then as he was turning around and coming back, I told Coy, we're not waiting for him. He can just follow him through the first corner. Because by the time we wait for Sam Squatch to come back and reset, and we don't have that kind of time.
Right.
So I watched Sam get off the track, come up the water truck road, shaking my head, laughing at him. Coy drops the gate. They go around the first corner. He did the right thing. He
Hopped
got in
back.
last. Yep, he started dead last.
I feel like I want to do that more often. 'Cause I was so pissed off that I just charged straight through the back.
So what would
So
it,
I'll
if he
just
did it the
tell
second
you the
moto,
wrong gate drop
what would
every
be the
time.
penalty?
He would just be a 38 rider.
Yeah. Like bumped right
Yeah.
up.
Are you 30?
Next year.
Oh, yeah, just 38. That's cool. You can leave with them all year long next year.
I was about to stay and just keep going. See if I could pace myself with those guys.
Good luck.
Yeah,
That's
an option.
Gray Davenport and Kyle Gills.
The
So,
best part was
good
is
luck.
I had looked at that. You know, Gray and Kyle are two of my favorite dudes at a dirt bike track, and they're both really good starters. So I'm like, man, this is gonna be cool. It's like a bracket race. It's head to head.
Right.
These two are gonna be coming at us. What is the 13 machine doing? That's pretty like, and I was just laughing. And
2022 prep, Gary.
and the look back over the downhill of like, shit.
I was looking for everybody.
It was a hell of a
He
whole
thought
shot.
he pulled the best start of his life.
Good start. Look back. Nobody's there, Gary.
I love the fact that you wanted to blame it on Megan and Coy.
Chase is full of it, Gary.
That's
I might have instigated a little bit.
yeah, I love that part. I got no two.
Yeah, and what was your response? You said, well, maybe we consider if the other 13 riders didn't go, but you happen to be the only one to go on the first gate.
Yeah, 13 guys in the class, and we didn't tell any of them, but 12 figured it out.
So
You know, I just saw Megan walk up, Sam. If you want to, if you really think you're gonna bring.
I told her that I was bummed that she wasn't there because I didn't get a 2-gate
he,
drop.
he tried to blame you.
Yeah, and we're
Megan,
still on
can
this.
you-
Wasn't there. I mean,
let's introduce Megan Horner here. Like, let's make room. Sit by Sam.
Yeah, come on over. I haven't showered for 3 days.
Before we hash out who was wrong here, Sam. Let's establish like Megan Horner is at the front gate on Thursdays. She's at the front gate and helping with registration on Fridays. She's back at the front gate on Saturday morning and then back in staging. So this girl puts in some hours. Like, how many hours did you put in this weekend?
49.
49 hours in 2.5 days. Right.
That's impressive.
Right. Yeah.
No,
And
it's
you
30.
you handle every 3.5 days, 3 days.
49
Oh,
hours.
yeah, that's a lot of hours. And you handle everything from trying to negotiate my way through the front gate because I know someone's uncle's brother, right? And you handle it, to gate picks, to how did this situation go down? Because I want to hear it.
Well, you were late to the gate.
I know. You weren't there at that gate. You were at the other one, the second moto. And you definitely gave me there's 2 gate drops, but I wasn't late to that one.
No, you were early.
We're
You
not
were like
discussing
a
our
photo
second.
early.
I was extremely early.
So the process is you go through staging. Megan scans you in.
Yeah.
She gives you a gate pick. She tells you what gate drop, and then we go. And this time you just were on your own program.
Oh, I dropped the ball.
Okay.
So you did not go through the zigzag.
I went through the zigzag.
No, you didn't. You
Definitely
came
went-
through straight.
I
where
would
the
never
barricade
I would
was.
never come to the back of any of your employees, Gary.
What
That's
what
40th gate
what
pick.
gate pick do you get to hand out if they roll up behind you and bump you
40th.
with a tire?
I got 40th gate pick, to be fair.
Yeah.
You did get 40th gate pick. You did get 40th gate pick. But yeah, that was entertaining.
It was great.
But even if let's talk about this. So, we got 2 30As, right? And I know we're backtracking 2 races, but we go back to Rupert and it's Sunday morning, we're all tired, and none of the over 30s show up. But we don't realize that. And Jackson Royals running the start gate. And it's kind of first gate drop of the morning. It's kind of fun, kind of exciting. We clear the track of practice. He runs out. He points at everyone. He runs in the doghouse. The gate drops. No one goes. No one. Which means Megan gave everyone proper information
Right.
of 20 amateurs, our second gate, and they all waited. So you could have hole-shotted 30A if you'd have
kept
just
going?
left at Rupert. You should have done this at Rupert. You could have said, I hole-shotted my first pro moto. But instead, not only did we look foolish at Rupert because we dropped a gate for no one, this time you look foolish because you didn't even get the whole shot in your own class.
I know, it was lame.
Yeah. What'd you ride back to, Sam?
Sam went 4-4, 4th overall. So, yeah, I mean, he ended up, he pass 6 guys on that first
So
moto.
starting last or starting with your group, you're 4th place in the class.
Basically.
Can we work on some podium speed?
You know what, though? I mean, you got this guy and this guy that has some serious speed. This one's questionable. You never know.
Parker Sampson's going fast.
He's fast. He's definitely fast.
Yeah, Parker is Parker's just a good kid. So yeah, that's a lot of fun. I mean, Samson, Thomas,
Wow.
Bangeter, you got to crack the podium. You got to cover one of them. You got to figure it out.
Be able to, and then those guys decide they wanted to come back and race. And then we got the Keaton Pace show, which is terrifying on a Saturday.
They wanted to come back and race. So your goal for moving closer to the front of the class is hoping people quit?
I was at the top.
Not.
Gary.
I'm not going to improve. I just hope the top 3 quit and don't come back.
I'm not going down, Gary.
I love having Sam on the show. I just love it.
It's great. Parker Sampson's lap times were 1:56 every lap, that entire moto. And is it Andy Thomas? Is he the snowmobile guy?
Yep, that's right.
Man, he looked good for not being a dirt bike rider. I mean,
Yep.
standing up, he was all over Parker every moto. His lap times are 1:56, 1:58, 1:56 the rest of the moto.
Who's number 90?
Number 90 is Trevin Irby. That's
I think it might be Tyven.
Traven.
Traven. Sorry, Traven Irby. He's out of the Boise area. Raced with us for a long time on 250s when he's probably 14, 15, 16's time frame. Haven't seen him for a little bit, but that's why we have plus 20 amateur. It's a perfect class to come back to. So he had some good motos. He had a big crash in the second moto and his day ended early, but it was cool to see Irby back. They're a good family.
Yeah, they're pretty much neck and neck. You know, Thomas and Irby and Samson were all, you know, basically there. I think any one of them could have won. It was good. It was good racing.
Yeah, it was fun to watch.
Long motos.
Yeah.
Yeah. The laps were comparable number of laps to Preston, but the lap time is just a touch longer, and
Yep.
it really made the motos with this heat and the conditions. It's kind of fun to see. So long motos on Sunday.
Yeah, and I think this 38 was just Davenport and Gills. I just caught bits and pieces of it. They were, I think, right here, first lap. Joe, so when I passed you were sitting on your bicycle. Davenport came in the inside. They raced to this corner after the finish line.
Yep.
Gills, I don't know if they touched or whatnot, but Gills opted to move over and was carrying a lot of speed and was going towards a smaller rut. I think he just kind of washed the front end. There wasn't quite that rut for how fast he was going. And then towards the end of the moto, being that they are so long, he rode his butt off and was finished right behind Gray right at the end. So that was pretty cool to see that he didn't give up, even though he was the only other guy out there. You know, he rode hard the whole time for 20 minutes, Gary.
It was close. I mean, I think that was 7-lap moto with lap times probably pushing 15 minutes total for those guys. Gills is getting ready for Loretta's.
Thanks, Sam.
And so him just motoing down. Thank you, Megan Horner. But Gills just throwing down laps. Maybe two of the coolest dudes in moto, 30 plus. A riders. Gray Davenport's been around this area forever. Kyle's a transplant to Western Power Sports, and definitely a awesome transplant to have to the Idaho motocross market because he's a good dude, and him and Nikki are good people. So, yeah, Davenport and Gills, we need more 30As, but I think the fact that we have Davenport and Gills is why the rest of the 30As stay home, is there's no money to be made.
Yeah.
There's just not.
They're
There's you can donate to those two.
Yeah.
and we'll let you, but you're probably not going to come take their money.
No.
Humiston's 25.
Yeah.
Yeah, or 27, 28, but he's not in the 30 class yet.
If either of those two guys whole shots a pro moto, everybody's in trouble. Even
Yeah.
not in a bad way, but they're going for it. Even Chunk, like Gills, they'll both just race Chunk. I'm pretty sure Davenport led him for a couple laps on Saturday, if I'm not wrong. So
I think if
they go for it.
If those two guys didn't have to work 40 hours a week and could train, I think the pro class is in trouble because those guys work like 40 plus hours a week.
Do we get them to make a comeback? Pro Nationals.
Well, Kyle's going to Loretta's in plus 25. He cannot go in plus 30 because he's scored a pro point in his life, or a few. I don't think people realize, Kyle had a pretty badass privateer career. Kyle Gills is a real deal, and so did Gray. So both those guys, they can't ride 30 at Loretta's because they've scored pro points. But Gills is going plus 25 to Loretta's. Gray's got a little boy, 6, 7 years old. Maddox, I think he's 6. Brought him out racing. So, I mean, we might see more of Gray now that his little boy's into the sport as well. So when you say comeback, I think if Gray had a month, he could qualify for a pro national.
He could qualify.
Time
right
qualify.
Now. He could qualify right now. Because he's been, when we do time qualifying for Open Pro, he's top 3 every time. And it's Chunk. Chunk's got 2 to 3 seconds on all of us, and then he's top 3 every time.
Yeah, I think Gray's. So I don't know. Let's try.
No.
Should we?
Yes.
Should we start?
Here.
Let's start a bring Gray Davenport back.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
Here's pressure him
he
into
is
it.
back though. I think that's the point. Is you don't your comeback doesn't have to be outdoor nationals. I mean, you have Loretta's for a reason because I think it does allow guys to step in there. But I mean, this is it, right? You can come here and race a pro class, and that is your comeback, right? Gray can dabble it. He can go back and forth, and if his boy's going to keep racing and racing, you'll see him racing. That's a comeback. So I think that's all he needs. It's
I
great.
would say like 70% of us in the pro class at an RMX race have our pro cards and have qualified for nationals.
Yeah, right. That's great.
Speaking of that, I'm gonna get way sidetracked. Do you see Wyatt qualified?
Yeah, Wyatt Lyon Smith.
Yeah, Wyatt Lyon Smith at Spring Creek. He'd been up at Preston training for the last couple weeks, trying to get ready. We had a good discussion. He's like, "What's the trick? Never been there. Like, you're gonna hate a scoop or a paddle tire at Spring Creek halfway through the day, but if you're in the LCQ, you have no choice because they re-rip the start for the LCQs. Like, you start out with the deepest ever." So he was 60th in time qualifying, left his scoop tire on, and ripped a massive hole shot in the LCQ and held on to a top 4 spot. And so there's one more RMX pro rider that has made a 40-man pro national gate. Add that to it. Wyatt's had some supercross experience, but that was his first pro national, and he made the gate. So there's one more guy. When
that
you
was a
say,
super cool surprise.
when you
I had
look
no
at the
idea he was
gate,
going up there.
Yeah. And how cool is that when you look at the group of kids that are out here? And I mean, I just think it's a good experience for them. So
It's always awesome to see kids from RMX going to the national stage. It's so cool.
So you got the Grays and Kyle Gills in the plus 30s. You got the young kids in the 250s and 450s and open. And I'm with Joe on that. Like, it's the comeback is Gray had a little boy. Both he and Cassie were here racing their dirt bikes. So it was cool that both mom and dad raced and Maddox raced. So I thought that was pretty neat. I don't know, other than the Rouse, I don't know that mom, dad, and Coleman's, Ashley and Tyson Coleman occasionally, but it's pretty rare. So there's 3 families. There'd only been 2 that I know of. Maybe I probably am wrong, but 2 for sure, and now 3. So that's cool. So yeah. And you almost hole shotted him. You had a 3rd place start. So close. Podium start.
Yeah. It's going to 450 Pro, 450B. Yeah, like always, right? Chance Hymas, 1-1. Riley, 2-2. Boston Boots, 3-3. Dustin Humphreys, 4-4. Braxton May, Richie Savala, Christian Karuna. So a few guys in there that we don't. Savala.
Yeah.
We don't see them too
Rich
often.
Savala. We had Richie Allspring. Richie Savala. His dad is sales guy at Rock Springs Honda. Steve Savala, good friend and been a good supporter of RMX. The Savala boys have been racing with us for a long time. Richie turned pro. I would say he hit the first 4 or 5 this year and then had an injury. So we haven't seen Richie for probably 6 to 8 weeks, but it was cool to see Richie back. Healthy, riding well. Anytime I see Steve Savala in staging, I go out of my way to go shake his hand, because if you haven't met Steve Savala and you're looking for a Honda, you should just give him a call. Rock Springs Honda. Steve Savala has been around the sport for a long time. So you run through that list, and they're all good dudes, regardless of where they finished. But, yeah, Richie Savala, Steve Savala, Julian, they're a good family. So it's fun to have those guys out racing. But, yeah, there's your 450A Chance Hymas show.
Coy, did you get to watch much of that moto? I know you were kind of running the gate and doing a little side flagging.
I didn't get to see anything on Saturday. I watched Open today. On Sunday. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, 450B was Cam Horner, Gage Wilcox, and where did he go? Where is Wade Huffman? Was he not in 450B, or was that Open Am? Oh, okay.
Wade had a 3 did not start, is what that's showing. So,
there.
I mean,
so
I don't know if there's an issue there,
I think
but
that was the moto. All three of them were way out ahead, battling.
Yeah. Wade got a whole shot. Cam was right there. Gage was right there. I mean, that was a good dirt bike race.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. Cam got the overall with the 2-1. But the racing side of it was cool. And, man, like, this section, I'm going to point, like, as if people know where we're at. The section with the rollers parallel to the start, and then kind of a left-hand bender, but not enough to make you want to slow down and then switch back to your right side knobbies and then go down a hill. Cam and Wade on the 450s, that was scary fast, how fast those two went. Like,
neither of them wanted to shut it down.
No.
It looked like a desert race. Like,
it was so fast.
Taylor Roberts just over the front fender on the throttle, just wide open, didn't let off.
The riding style with, like, just, the head over the bars and just letting those 450s just eat dirt. And I was sitting there like, oh, my gosh. And then the pros roll by, they're staggered out there together, and they're a little bit older, maybe a little more conservative. And it was like, hey, can you guys get out of the way? Like, these young kids are coming. Like, you guys are holding up their dirt bike race. Like, we ran the stagger longer on Sunday than we did Saturday, because there was a heck of a dirt bike race on Saturday, and it caught the back of the pro class. And Cam and Wilcox had some chaos to figure out, and so
I want to say they got
moving.
3 or so of those pros. I think they got
all but 2.
Okay, so they got around Fuzzy and Boots all the way to the back of Riley and.
I'm not using names. Those that's my brother. Like, that's family. Like, they got around all but 2.
Well, you're just saying they're a lot smarter and wiser, and these kids are just hammering on a beat track late in the afternoon.
I'm not going to use smart and wise with Boston. Like, I like Boston, and I'd say that to him, but I'm not going to use smart and wise with Boston. No, honestly, I mean, it was cool. Like, it was, everyone's going fast. And, Dusty Humphreys, 27, 28 years old, rides plus 25, rides, 450A. He was cruising along, and he's a smart kid, and he felt the pressure of Cam and Gage. And he made some line selections that allowed their dirt bike race to continue, but let his keep continuing. And that is the cool part. That's the smart and wise. Like, they're going to get run down by these young kids. Like, they are flying.
Right.
But they're flying everywhere. But that sweeper is what impressed me. Like, I don't know what. Maybe it's because I was sitting right there watching motos. But when Cam and Wade come by on the 450s in the morning when it was really tacky, I was blown away at the speed they came by. It was cool.
Were they still doing it in the afternoon?
Yeah.
Because in the afternoon, there were some spots that were super slick, like dry slick.
Mm-hmm.
So doing that over that's insane.
Didn't phase them. Like, those kids, but they have the proper body positioning, right? They're not sitting down. The guys that lost control there and had some crashes, they're not weighting their pegs. They're it's just a different riding style. And Wade, Cam, Wilcox have a riding style that allows them to hang it out around there. It was cool. But that was 450 intermediate was cool. These guys are going fast.
I think that was probably one of the better races on Saturday, the one out of ISOL.
Yeah.
It was a good one.
Yeah. And Cam and Wade are both on their way to Loretta's, right? Like, they're going to do it again, and they're going to do it at the front of that pack as well.
And the lap times, it's like we were talking about when Austin was sitting here. It does show it, I mean, Gage won that first moto, and his fastest was a 50.26, and Cam's fastest was a 50.42. So 2/10 of a second off. And Hymus in that same moto, his fastest was a 47.6. So you're basically looking at 3 seconds off, a little less than 3 seconds off the fastest, which clearly everybody agrees that, Hymus is going to be, got to be a top 10 guy, right? At a national right now. I think everybody agrees that there's no one's going to doubt his ability to run and deserve his ride and deserve to be on the gate as a pro and be there. It's not just a name thing. It's not just he got the backing, right? He has earned it. And so when the B class is that close, I think that says what you said. And I think those guys pushed each other, and that's what you need, right? Just even having Gills and Davenport, you just need one guy. You just need one guy that pushes you to your best. And Hymus is doing that without anybody pushing him to his best. And I think that's a lesson to be learned to all these guys out here, that he gets out front, his lap times improve as the moto goes on. He carries his lap times clear to the end, which a lot of people do that too. But he does it without any pressure or anything else.
And I think me and Coy were kind of sitting over here today in the Open Pro moto. We were talking about that because after the finish line, he was the only one standing all the way through. You could watch him halfway through, slide his feet back, get his toes on the pegs. And I was like, Coy, you think he could go in top 10 to the outdoors? And you're like, man, it's so tough. But you look at him, I don't know exactly. You said yes.
I said basically any year besides this year, I would say for sure.
Yeah.
This year's chaos, but so you never know. But
Right.
that's the speed he's got.
He was right there with Kitchen at Freestone.
Right.
So
Yeah, and Kitchen. Yeah.
Hey, look at where Kitchen ended up at the Nationals, and Hymus was right there with him at Freestone. So
Is lap times from today part of that? Or no?
I don't have the lap time from today.
'Cause
this is 4:58.
I know the
This is-
track got faster, like it
opening.
does. And yeah, I was gonna say the track was a little faster. It wasn't as rough, but what was super impressive to me in Open Pro, Sundays are a little more chill for our staff, so I get to watch some races in a different way. And Chance had like a 143 and then 142, and then he was consistently 141, and then he went 139 and change, like 139.7 or 139.6 on lap 12. So there's a couple of different things here. One is lap 12, 20 minutes in, was his fastest lap. But
100 degrees out.
Yeah.
20
But that
minutes.
also tells you the pros and what they do to the track changes the track. Like if you're after a pro moto, it's a different track than after, a 50cc moto. And when you put Open Pro and Amateur All-Star together, and the best kids inside RMX were all on the track, not only it was fun to watch, the track got better fast. And it showed, because Chance's lap time went from 143 to 139, and I was watching everyone in the class, and they were getting faster. Like everyone, even the guys that I didn't think maybe were going to, some of the older dudes that are not training full time, the track got fast. And I would have never have thought with this much real estate, someone was going to go sub 140, and Chance went 139. So to say, does he have pro national top 10 speed? I don't think what we see from him is what we're going to see even at Loretta's. Like there's got to be another gear. There was last year, right? Like he found a gear in 250B and Schoolboy 2. But I think we're going to see it from a lot of kids. Like I feel like Cam rides better when Wade's here. Like it challenges him. It makes him, he has a reason to go fast, right? Like we've seen some motos where Cam's won it by 30 seconds. And I'm not saying that some of the other kids in the B class are not challenging him, but like Wade ripping a start, the kids have gears. And I think that you're going to see Cameron get to Loretta's, you're going to see Wade get to Loretta's, you're going to see Chance Hymus get to Loretta's, and they know that they've got to find a gear, and it's cool because they have it. They all have it. And it's fun to I liked the whole Amateur All-Star Open Pro on the track together. I just think it made everyone better. Like there was something going on everywhere on the track.
Right.
I think Hymus and the I mean, if I had to put money on, could he top 10 a pro national by the end of the year? I wouldn't bet against him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you see, when Wilcox won the first moto on that 450B, he came off the track. He was super excited, right? He was fist pumping and screaming and carrying on, and that's great. I mean, that's the idea, right? You should. It's a huge accomplishment to go out there and run. What'd you run them 10 laps or whatever you did, and to go out there and to do that's great. And I think that's got to be, that's got to be said that people put a lot into it, and when they can win a moto at this series, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Right? And that's, they went and bought a brand new bike, and they came out here, probably bone stock, and went out and won a moto. So that's a huge deal for them to do.
Right. And it speaks volumes to just, it's not just a regular old.
That bike was borrowed. I don't know if that was a brand new bike of his.
Sure,
either way, it's
take
a
it for what it's
stock
worth.
suspension.
It's a monster Yamaha.
Yeah.
It's basically a different bike than he had last time, and he didn't get the overall, and but he got the fastest lap on that moto. That's great, and he got to come out and race, and and that's cool. And I think that's a great compliment to Cam that someone of Wilcox's pedigree that's raced all over was excited to beat him. And that's that's great, and that's what it is. And then you go back out and you do it all over again. That's motocross, right? It's 2 motos, and Loretta's it'll be 3, and it's high level racing all the way around.
To take what Joe says, to win a moto at RMX is cool. Like,
yeah, it was a big deal to it.
If you're gonna win a pro moto at RMX, you've got to beat a kid that has top 10 pro national speeds. To win an intermediate moto at RMX, you've got to beat a kid that has top 10 intermediate speed. To win a C-class moto, same thing, because you got to beat a Jesse James, you got to beat a Brax Morgan. It's always been that way. You get into the 85s. In the super mini class, Jace Allred is a top 5 to top 10. I mean, Jace is a championship contender, but I'm just going to say we have a minimum of a top 10 at the super mini level. 85s, both younger and older age groups, with the Cohen Jackmans, the Gray Townsends, the Trini Bachelors. You get into the 65s, you get into the 50s. Every single class at RMX is represented at Loretta's, and every single class has someone that will finish inside a top 10 for at least a moto, and if not, overalls.
Yep. What's your total for Loretta's riders? Do you have that number yet?
They just posted the schedule.
You just going to go through and add them up?
Yeah, because the problem is we don't want to say, oh, we have this many tickets, because in theory there's more tickets than we're always limited to 2.
All right. So we want to talk about how.
Well, we were talking every single class inside RMX is represented at Loretta's. I mean, we have a P-dub rider, we have an electric bike rider, we have 4 to 6, we have multiple 7 to 8s. The 50 class, the 65, 7 to 9, and 10 to 11 is represented. I'm not sure. I know we have a 25. I'm not sure on a 30, Joe. What Rouse Road 40s?
If we don't have Kip,
weren't you needed Pud for the 30?
We would have been represented.
Yeah, Brandon Susi would have qualified, right? I mean, that's the theory. He seems like he would have been a good candidate for that class.
Yep.
So you had that one, and then your next one is your 40 class, which is
Rouse.
Which is Rao. Yep.
You look good today.
And
Justin Rao.
Yep.
So
it's Montana.
Yeah.
Spent his whole life. It looked just like this out there. His whole life. He's so good at this, you wouldn't believe it.
I think
he was
Courtney
catching Sam.
Yeah, he all over Sam. I mean,
we've been to Loretta's like 11 of the last 13 years or something like that. And it used to be like, okay, we'll watch the motos with RMX kids. So we had to watch 6 of the 40 motos and then 10 of the 40 motos. And you were with us last year. I think we got a break for a random class, a real random class. But we watched almost every moto last year. And then this year, I think we're there. I think that there's going to be well north of 40 when Courtney adds it up. There's some classes that, there's plus 25 has Fuzzy, Dusty Humphreys, Kyle Gills, Riley, and there was more.
I know there's 5 of us in College Boy.
Yeah, 5 in College Boy. Open Pro Sport
has at least 4, maybe 4.
with
Three.
Hymus and Kilroy, you, Gav, Riley is in a clerical dispute with MX Sports, but he'll be on the gate. They had his power ranking from Paula instead of his power ranking from
Indiana.
Yeah, the East Coast one. So they had his power ranking as 46 instead of 76, and they had already moved 2 alternates that have lower power rankings up. So technically they should have moved him. So right now he's first on the alternate list, and there'll be some drop out. So Pro Sports got 5 or 6. 450B, it's got Hayden Morgan, Cam, and Huffman that I know of right away. Every class. I think last year there was 47 kids, and if we're not right there this year, I'll be shocked.
That there's got to be more with the amount of people that made it in at Porterville this year.
Yeah. Pax Morgan made it.
Yeah, Pax Morgan made
Pax.
it in as an alternate.
E-bike rider.
Yep.
Yeah. And I already negotiated a deal with Chris Miller. I get to go to the line for at least one moto, and Joe, you should do it.
Okay.
I'm telling you,
You know I love to go to the line.
and interviewing Pax Morgan,
do.
we need to be like mic'd up. I
Yeah.
want
Oh,
a
if we-
mic on him for the Loretta's. Can
And
we
he's
do
on
this?
an,
Do we
he's
have
on
the
an
technology?
e-bike, so we could hear him all moto
The entire
long.
moto. Can we do this? Garrett, please tell me we can do this. Can we mic up Pax? Yeah.
Yeah. You just need
It's
some
funny,
way to
just
record,
like
right? You just got
Carmichael
to
did
put
on the
something on,
side
you turn it
lap
on, and
and
you
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
I said, coach me up. Show me how to use the mic.
Yeah,
I'll
show
mic
us
Pax
how.
up.
Because let's mic up Pax for his e-bike moto. Let's mic up Joe for the mechanics area. Let's mic up Cole
You're gonna have to
Townsend
invest in a couple
for,
mics.
for the impound. I want post-race Cole, not pre-race and post-race Cole.
Post-race goal
Please
is pretty
let
good.
me mic
Before
up
and
Cole.
after, depending on
Yeah.
how the moto goes.
We have a beat button, right? Like
Are
we
you talking about like in editing or
Yeah.
on the mic?
We have
Yeah.
eagle squawks.
We just discussed it.
Is that what
Yeah,
it
but
is?
the one
Did you
I
hear that
I
one?
couldn't
That was horrible.
I couldn't find I couldn't, because sometimes when you're searching for sounds you have to like figure out the very specific name of it, and I couldn't find it, so I just started looking for animal noises. I think I forgot to turn the volume down on it.
So we're mic'd up from Loretta's.
Yeah.
Let's do it, Joe. This would be fun.
Write that down, Rain.
Yeah, mic'd up for Loretta's. I will.
Put it in the notes.
I will be happy to purchase the equipment.
Yeah.
And
I think
this,
that'd be awesome.
Yes, I am so pumped. This just made Loretta's
that'd
that
be
much
cool.
more fun.
Yeah,
But no, the series we've been saying it for the last 2 years. Regional Motocross Championship, and the proof is
definitely.
in the proof is in 450B was 3 different states, right? Utah, Montana, Colorado. I mean the A class is different state. We're a Regional Motocross Championship. The kids are on their way to Loretta's. The speed's here. You should be proud of winning a moto at RMX because you've done something. Regardless of the class, you've done something.
Well, and even in the little bikes, I mean, you got the ways coming up,
Yeah.
you know, so that even the little bikes are a regional.
And if you can't, and it's not like even when you get into 50 beginner, it's not like you want a 5-man dirt bike race.
Mhm.
I don't care where you're at. You win a 25-man, 35-man dirt bike race, that's cool. That's cool.
Oh,
So, yeah, the speed's here. It's cool. Like, I think we got a lot going on. I think that we'll get some numbers out this week. Watch the Instagram, and I think it'll be fun to kind of see what the Loretta's numbers are. The class structure is, the rider roster is official. The race order comes out Monday. It'll be Racer TV for those that are not there and want to watch some motos. They can do it, and I think it's going to be a good time.
Sweet.
But it is, those kids are there. We always say it, when you race an open class at RMX, you are racing national caliber, riders.
Definitely.
For sure. Speaking of that, you have Open Am in front of you.
Yeah, we briefly touched over it. This was yesterday, the one moto format on Saturday. Cam Horner first, Wade Huffman second, Gage Wilcox third, Connor Lords fourth, Cade Christensen fifth, Gabe Niedenhauser sixth.
I'm going to go one more. Ryder Huffman 7. That little dude's rolling. Like,
And how
He-
old is he?
he's 15. he was protested at Loretta's or at a regional that said he's not a C rider. It's a long story, but Ryder Huffman is a C rider. He's decided to put his head down and work even harder because Loretta's was taken from him this year on a technicality, which is wrong. He went there on a 4 to 6 bike, and so now he's considered a B rider. He took 5 years off the bike,
Right.
and a year and a half ago, if he would have,
I think it was Mesquite it was this winter series that he got back on a bike.
if he would have rode beginner at his first moto back, no one would have protested him. He was not ready to ride a dirt bike
Right.
at this level. And 6 months later, 9 months later, he led laps, won motos, and beat kids that are on their way to Loretta's in the C class, and had 7th in Open Am. Like, that's cool for Ryder.
25 guys.
That's really, and look at every single kid in front of him has been or is going to Loretta's. That's cool.
That's awesome.
Good for Ryder Huffman.
Chase, can I see those? Is
That
so cool?
that now looking at that makes me smile even more. Yeah, good for Ryder. That's cool. And Ryder is one of those little dudes that was here on a Thursday. Gary, what can I do to help? Right? What can I do? Like, set up course marker. Like, mark the parking lot. Help people park. Like, Ryder is constantly coming up to you. What can I do next? What can I do next? Not for money, not for anything, just wants to help. So Ryder Huffman, that's a good kid. But there's another one, Open Am.
Is that a good segue into the
No, Garrett.
interns?
It's a better segue into, is he possibly the one who put the track marker down that Joe coincidentally fell onto, poked a hole through his friend's, Abe Mingo's radiator hose? What was it, that track marker, Joe? What happened over there?
Yeah, it was definitely that one. These track markers, every stick that goes out there is numbered. There's a number on every one of them.
And signed.
Yep, it's signed. You know exactly who puts it in. That way, when you fall over and it sticks you, then you get up, you look at the stick, you find the number on it, you see who signed it, and you immediately march over there and just you throw a fit.
I'll take
is what
the
you
blame
do.
for every single one of them.
Every one of them. Thank you,
I
Coy.
will take the
Coy,
blame for every
Coy's always
single one.
looking. He wants me to come over and
I don't
jot him.
care
He
where
just
it
is
is.
like,
try me.
just come over here and say something smart to me
Can
while I've been in
Can I tell you a
running the
great
start gate.
course marker situation? Because
This one's not about me, right? This isn't about the one in the back.
no,
Okay,
but
good.
this might solve multiple problems. You're having a problem with falling on them.
No, I have no. I mean, really. I guess other than a punctured radiator hose and sore knees, but whatever.
because the course marker was laying down and there were some random stakes around, maybe.
Yep,
Yeah, so
that's it.
we went to a pro national, or have been to a few, and I pulled one of their SpongeBobs and realized that they run a piece of like 1.25" galvanized, threaded, right? They had a little threaded cap on it, so it's not going to spear someone. That's what they pound in the ground, not wood lath, and then they slip the Cherubus over it. I've been saying for a year that I want something firmer because I'm tired of picking up course marker all day long. And Coy does a really good job of setting up the course markers at an angle. And he sets them up at an angle because the line gets too close to it and they want to be able to lay over their bikes and not hit their knuckles on them. So they're sitting like this. Me having a little bit of OCD issues, I was chewing some ass, which I'm proud of Riley and Coy for standing up for themselves, but I was chewing some ass Thursday night, like after they set up the course marker, saying it looks like shit. They're all leaning.
No, those are at 17 degrees. Coy and I talked about it. I mean, you want them vertical.
I want 'em
Here's the
vertical.
deal, man. They're 17 degrees. We got an angle finder in the trailer. I checked them myself. I was already out there. Talked to Coy about it. So,
And
as long as they're consistent, I mean, you
But-
give maybe a couple degrees either way.
you want function, I want cosmetic appeal.
Well, they are.
They
They're-
look like they
it's
were put up.
17 degrees, man. I mean, it's perfect.
They look like they were put off by someone that's 17 degrees off their rocker. Like
No, it's perfect. They were
so
great.
We were having
They
a
were great.
relatively uncomfortable conversation for others that don't know we can have those.
Over 17 degrees out of plumb.
Yeah. And so I wanted something like Coy wants them, hey, we got to have an angle. People are going to hit them. I'm like, put the damn thing straight up and down, put in a T-post. Like, I'm tired of picking up these things. So first moto, it looked like a bomb had went off out there. There was broken lath. Course markers were not at
Right.
17 degrees. They were at 90
No,
degrees
they're
flat.
stuck in my radiator.
Yeah.
I got another one stuck in the skid plate on that
Uh-huh.
friggin' two-stroke that I was riding out there. I mean, it's pieces of it still jammed in there in the skid plate.
And the radio call was,
Coy, I hate to admit it, but I agree with Dad. We need T-posts. And they were everywhere out there.
Yeah.
And we spent the rest of the weekend lifting up the course marker, bringing down the course marker, lifting up the course marker. But it's the whole elevated track, and it makes it even harder because everyone falls off the track and then takes
Radiator
everything.
hoses out.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I think, when you're at a track, you just use whatever you got to market. You coolers, whatever you got.
I honestly,
Whoa.
we're having a tornado. The
That was intense.
honestly, straw bells make the most sense. Like someone put up straw bells 30 years ago, and what do we have going on?
Film it.
With Tud and Hayden both yelling, it is one of a kind.
Wow, that was impressive.
I'm really glad that didn't come through here.
I didn't think it was in the gun. Oh shit, that's gonna rip these cans out the ground. That was nutty.
Yeah, so we just had a little brief tornado there. Talked about open am. I guess we'll just segue right into the pro tip. Avoid, what do you call those things? Cyclone, wind tornadoes?
We're not done talking about course marker.
Oh.
I have
never done.
we have an idea.
Well, that tornado just took out
Called
whatever
dust
one's
devils.
left you had. Dust devils. There you
Dust
go.
devils.
We need a Cherubus course markers that are the size of a tough block, or the SpongeBob's half the size. They can be put up at a 90-degree angle. You can still lay your bike over past 17 degrees.
What about just maybe tires? Digging down, burying some old tires, Joe. What do you think?
I'd rather not. Where's the complaint form? Like where do you fill that out? And when you turn it in, do you get parts back that the tire takes? No, I think it's berms. Honestly, I mean, we have to be a little bit objective. When we come out and look. I mean, it's when there's zero curl on the edge of the track, it makes a course marker nightmare. And literally when I had both feet off and I hit that thing just dead center, it's terrible, man. But yeah, so that's it. It's a challenge, and like you said, this is the first time coming here. I mean, there's got to be a little bit of a suggestion box. I mean, surely it's not going to be perfect. When they went to Washougal in '72, right? It wasn't perfect. When they went to Hangtown the first time in '79 or whatever, it wasn't perfect. And this place will be fine. It just needs a little more help. And, maybe T-posts and, rebar maybe isn't the answer for the SpongeBobs.
Let's go for a walk at Loretta's, inspect a few, see if we can get some pro tips.
On how to install them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Let's just see what's out there.
Yeah.
I've
I'm
seen
curious.
Yeah, I'm game.
inch by inch wood lath,
Oh, yeah.
big
Sure.
ones. Those are almost as hard as a T-post if you get them in the ground.
Yeah.
Inch
Yeah,
by
wow.
inch, today's lumber pricing, it'd be like $9.
Yeah, it'd be cheaper. We should just T-post at that
Yeah,
point.
right.
Why not dirt? Makes prepping a little difficult.
Both. I mean, a couple of things. You can push up dirt piles, right? But then you got to knock down dirt piles. Those tracks that have windrows down both sides of them, and we see that at the Pro National level, they have a month to get ready for a Pro National, and then they probably don't do anything for a month. Those type of windrows are nothing more than water retention dams for your average practice track. So if you put windrows down both sides of your track and an unexpected rainstorm shows up, you might be closed down for 3 or 4 more days than you wanted, versus right now this place is going to drain. It's going to drain fast. It's sloped.
And I think, we got to be honest about it too. We're never going to schedule a race here that there's a chance of more rain than what we got.
Yeah.
Because we're never going to get out of here. And I think people from around here maybe haven't raced some other places with some serious mud and serious pit issues, and I have, right? I'm from places where you come to a race like this and they schedule it in April because guess what? We can't get water. We got all kinds of water problems. And literally you're dragging everyone out, or they just stay and they get left.
Yeah.
And then they come back a week later when it dries out. So, we're going to have to be careful, I think, about this. And I think, too, all the riders are being held accountable to a high standard. We got high-level racing. And I think ultimately, Cardle's a good guy. He sees it, and I think that, he's going to want to make his track the best that it can be. And I think, right, you put some extra dirt out there and you put some extra work into it, it's going to be even better,
Well, and I think it would even help, on his practice days. Sam was the one that he told me that he came here for a practice day and there was a line in the water truck road because there's nothing to hold you back. So, maybe some dirt piles, some dirt piles that look like straw bales, things like that, and they help at all of our tracks. We have issues at Preston, of course, cutting, and we have issues everywhere. Rupert's, their people are good at cutting course.
And there, it's to the outside.
People
usually.
are really good at cutting course.
Yeah, because the inside's a pond.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Looping around the pond. So
Yeah.
You don't want to go that way.
Yeah. That's like the Justin Vieira GoPro where he launched into the pond and you just watch the water level rise up the screen and then the GoPro goes blank. It's the coolest GoPro I've ever seen, but he literally launched into the pond and the GoPro just goes underwater. So there's good and bad at all of them, but the course marking thing, Courtney and I go to a lot of races. We go with the boys. We go with good friends to dirt bike races, and it's fun to see how other people do it and bring it back home, and not just Loretta's, but the pro nationals, other amateur series, Canadian nationals. We pulled stuff from them. Some of the things that we do, we took from FIM, from the World GPs. We want to pull as much information as we can and bring the best stuff to RMX. So I think, Joe, we should make that a goal. We're going to bring something from Loretta's back that improves RMX.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's do it.
Right. I think that's him by the dumpster.
Yeah. Let's do it. Our tips coming from the dumpster?
Yeah, one of the fastest RMX pro riders is currently smashing down trash bags in the dumpster.
Multitasks.
Yeah, he's
multifunctional.
jack of all
Yeah.
I
trades.
think his dirt bike is strapped down to the same gooseneck flatbed trailer as our tractor. That is what he came to the dirt bike race on.
I saw him kind of
Just so
over
that
there by
second place
himself.
in the pro class, Open Pro and 450 Pro, came on a flatbed gooseneck trailer with a tractor. No.
I told him he needed a 6-pack of Monster, just sitting on. If he would have leaned his bike after the moto against the gooseneck, cracked a Monster, no center stand. He didn't even have a center stand. He literally brought it here on the back of the flatbed, and then when he went to leave, he needed to take the tractor back to Preston. He wanted his bike out of here, so it was flatbed, gooseneck, tractor, and a Cowie 450.
Someone's got to have a picture. They'll send it to you. You put
Oh,
it-
I got
All right.
I got a video from Toby asking me
go.
what kind of redneck beep is this.
Is that we're
Second
talking
place
about,
in
what
the
was
pro
he,
class.
35B winner? Is that Toby? That
Yeah.
guy? And
The
and
guy that's
30B,
got
that
like
guy?
this weird
got all
unexplainable handlebar mustache
this
wants to
going
ask
on.
me
Here's Farm Boy
what
Racing.
type of redneck beep is
Riley?
this.
This is Riley Bruff, and you gonna give us a good pro tip?
I can try to give a good pro tip. The thing that I took away was, and granted there was a handful of people that rode this track a lot better than I did, but number one, I've never really seen a track that changed as much as this one did. And the lines kind of stayed the same, but it went from as much traction as you could possibly ever ask for in the first moto to traction almost being non-existent in the second one. So you had to you had to adapt really quickly. And then with that, I just said that there was no traction in the second moto. But my pro tip would be find the wet dirt, because it was there. The middle of the track going out to in to out, get out of the main line that was just concreted in, get out, find some traction.
A little similar to kind of like your Tooele pro tip of just kind of late in the day, just kind of hold the throttle steady,
Yeah.
find the good stuff, stay out of the main chop.
Pretty much, yeah, because there was sand, there was wet dirt, there was all kinds of stuff off the main line. There was places that you kind of had to just take the main line and and manage it, but there was plenty of places that you could get off of it, find some traction, and get the bike moving. I think that would be my pro tip. Would have been to.
I was
just
thinking
move around.
about the post race show last night as I was prepping. There's some sections of the track that were never touched.
Yeah,
and I get
the
that
tiller
they're not.
marks are still
Yeah,
there.
the tiller marks are still there. I get that clearly means they're not the fast line.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of trying to get so far to the inside that you fall off and grease yourself out, would you have made time using that?
Absolutely, and that's, I guess, I could talk all day, I guess, but so that could be another pro tip is you go inside, 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 and then a course marker fell over on the back fence line. Everyone started diving in. It wasn't any faster because all of a sudden you took a corner that had this huge arc and people were making it a full 90. You were way better off to just get in the rut that was still there.
There was, on Saturday, one of the kids out doing safety was like, hey, we got a course marker down, come help me. And the line, it was on those back S's. It came off, fell off the track, went on the water truck road, but then you had to go back around the course marker. I sat there and watched it, and I watched dudes taking the line, getting past. So I just said, we're not fixing it. Like, if you're going to take that line, there's a pro tip, right? Like, get in some good dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like what McCoy was saying last round, where he went out and practiced, right, and you made a little inside right there before the finish. You just kind of worked it in case you needed it.
Yeah.
And I guess if you guys could have done that today and worked some of those outsides, built you up a good little rut.
Yeah.
Come back to it late in the day.
Mm-hmm. And I definitely wasn't the best at it this weekend, but I could definitely see it. I don't know if we have any footage of Hymas riding, but holy crap, he was using good. Oh my gosh. He was flying when the track was tacky, and then when it got slick, I don't even know if he ever took a main line. Whenever I was around him, he wasn't in the main line. He was squaring up and, jumping over ruts and stuff. He was finding the tacky dirt. It was pretty cool. Yeah, that's all I got.
Wrap this thing up.
Are you wanting to wrap it up because the next thing after pro tip says wrap up?
Well, and it's my name with 2 question marks on both sides. I don't appreciate that.
McCoy?
Pro tip McCoy?
I don't know what's wrong with him.
Hopefully Riley shows up.
We gave it to the guy with his dirt bike on a flatbed trailer.
Yeah.
Better than me.
What's the starting pro tip? Because early Saturday, it seemed like a lot of starts came from the outside of the doghouse. People just holding it on, good tacky dirt, going really fast through there. And then late in the day, as everything dried out, everyone moved over. That would be your deal, Cole. You ran the gate all day yesterday and today, didn't you?
Yeah.
Where were the starts coming from?
Honestly, as soon as I drop the gate, I duck and dodge roosts. I saw
some people get
Did
blasted.
you see the amount of roosts coming off the gate?
I saw some people get
from the over 30 class. The starts were coming from about 20 feet behind it on the mechanics area as local hero was shifting before he crossed the gate.
I saw it. It was
killer.
I was stood, parallel with the gate and saw him. He had about a bike length and a half maybe before anyone crossed the gate.
Yeah.
It was awesome. But he shut down like 20 feet out of the gate and let everyone else go. So
he was also docked 3 spots for it. So
yeah.
There was no quite like you can't. He was shifting before he crossed the gate. Like, what are we doing? We're grabbing third gear behind the gate. Like, oh my gosh.
So no rolling starts, not allowed?
Okay, let's back up. Let's talk starts. So, like, our rule book, we've tried to keep as simple as possible because we don't want to have the 96-page AMA rule book, and we don't want to have to enforce 96 pages. So we've addressed the obvious, or the stuff that you would feel like we need to. And then if there is a new paragraph, it's because someone's found a way to bend the rules, and now it's not in the rule book, right? So what you will see added to the rule book is starting procedure that will include the proximity to the gate, right? We'll go get the specs on that through the AMA. It sucks. It's one more thing these poor kids are going to have to set up, but we're going to have a backrest, right? We're going to have to get something behind the gate. Like at Preston, we have a railroad tie, so the rolling starts are not an option. But everywhere that we just have dirt, we're gonna have to get something. Mesquite, you'd be off the grade, so you wouldn't want to do it. But we're gonna have to set up something and adjust our rule book, because if it's happening and it's getting protested, then that's on us. We didn't have it in our rule book, right? So I'm going to own it. Like, I didn't have what the exact procedure is, but we will next time. And so we're going to address that. We'll go through and address, how we're going to handle 2 minutes, whether it follows what the AMA says or not. We're amateur racing, dropping 60 gates. We don't have a lot of time. So we have a little board that says your 2 minutes starts now. We've been to Redbud, and we really liked their red light, green light system. And it's real simple. When the red light comes on, your gate is dropping sometime in the next 2 minutes. Get ready. There's no additional time. Once the red light comes on, we're going racing. When it starts to go through its sequence, stare at it, right? So that's their procedure. That's their rules. That's what you sign up to race under. So we need to address that. We need to address the little guys that go out and stand in a gate because they're 27th gate pick, and they think that they can intimidate the guy that's in 4th from not picking that gate. And their dad tells them to stand there as long as you can. Do we need to go to no one's on the start pad until you roll up? No one walks out there early? Like, how far does this need to go?
Right.
What level of pro national status do we have to get? Because the series is getting better. The series is getting more competition. Starts matter. How far are we going to take it? And we're going to address it in the rule book because we had some things that arised at the start line that probably have been happening longer than I realized. But when you have someone as experienced as Coy running the start gate, you get some feedback of things that are happening. So, and that's happening. I mean, don't send your little dude up there to stand in a rut and try to tough guy the other guys in his class like they're not going to move your little boy. Like, no, if you're 27th gate pick 27th. Sorry.
Right.
So
what about starting between 2 gates? Where are we at on that? Is it in
No.
the rule book as of now?
Center, it's not in the rule book. If you read the AMA rule book, you have to start in the center of the gate. You have to start in the rut. You can't go to the far outside rut at Rupert and start sideways. If you want to pick the outside rut gate at Rupert, you have to be behind the gate, center of the gate at a 90-degree angle. Not 89, not 17, 90. and that is happening, right? Like, if you want that gate, cool. Start out straight, then turn. But those type of things are in 96 pages of AMA racing. We've got ours trimmed down to 5 or 6, but I think it's going to be 7 or 8 because, no, you can't start in between 2 gates because you don't know how to start out a rut.
So look for 4 additional added pages of starting procedure in the RMX rulebook.
Which means additional staff, which means, I don't know, higher pricing to pay for them. What do you want to do, Chase? How do we want to raise this money? We need to fix our starting gates. We need to add staff, and we need
Course
to write a
markers.
rule book. Do you want to do a fundraiser, or what do you want to do?
I mean, GoFundMe seems to be the hot ticket these days.
Okay, we'll just
Car
do it and
wash.
keep everything.
An RMX
Oh,
car
Joe, you
wash.
want to do a car wash with me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you and I, Gary. Yeah, the 3 of us.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll see how this goes.
yeah, yeah. For like $10, I'll do it with my shirt off. For $100, I'll keep it on. I'll make way more money. Like, here's $100, sir. Just please leave the shirt on. Yeah, there's something ugly. No, I mean, it's fun. I like the fact that the series has got big enough that those type of things matter, right? Like 8 years ago, if you were starting sideways in a starting gate, whatever. Now we have 40 bikes. You got to be square in the gate. I think it says something for our series that we're having to fine tune our rule book for the little stuff, because winning a moto here, like we discussed, is tough. And now you're trying to find everything you can to win a moto, and we just need to make sure it stays inside motocross parameters, right? But at the very end of the rule book, it says everything is subject to referee's discretion, and it's for reasons like that. Local, and I'm not calling him out, he's a friend, so it's fine. Local was docked for doing a rolling start. Does our rule book say no rolling starts? No. Does our rule book say referee's discretion? Yes. Does the AMA allow rolling starts? No. Come on, Local, we're going to use common sense.
Right.
And again, I'm not calling out John because I love him. John Heitz,
Great guy.
original sponsor, the very first sponsor of RMX.
I did ask him about it. He said he's been doing it for at least 5 years. His start's exactly like that. At Preston, he's the far outside where there is no more railroad tie, and he is
This
45.
is the first time
But-
I've ever ran the gate.
Right.
And it didn't last.
We sent a professional with experience to the starting line. We have 5 new rules.
Wait till Coy's in registration. Wait till we're just gonna send Coy to each aspect of our business, and the rule book's gonna go from 6 to 26 pages. But at the same time, Chase, sponsors are held to a higher standard. So John's doing rolling starts as local hero. That would be like having one of our sponsors pit riding in a dust storm. It's just not acceptable. Yes, I went back there, Sam. Chase.
You said if there was no trouble
we're
at
not
last
over
Delta,
this.
you were going to let it go.
I take 50% of this.
We gave a rack of ribs. I thought square was square. There was no dust at the last
50%
Delta.
still.
The cool part is if local even takes the time to watch this, he knows that we're not picking on just one sponsor. We pick on all of them.
Right.
We pick on all sponsors equally.
Yeah.
Yep.
You want to get picked on, be a sponsor.
Yeah. Give us money,
be
do
an
something cool
employee.
for us. We're going to pick on you.
Yeah, or just fly under the radar. Just
Right.
keep
Yeah.
your hat down.
No, I mean we want to improve every weekend. So we have a month off, right? We have a month off. We're back at Preston. We'll make some adjustments. We'll continue to improve.
So we're going to go to Loretta's, then be back to Preston for round 9 of the summer series.
Yes, and I want to challenge every single RMX kid. We're back for round 9 at CVMX, but the following weekend is a National Grand Prix. The National Grand Prix is coming back to
At Preston.
At Preston, like.
It was so fun last year.
And there's so many people that say, I don't race off-road. I don't
It's
race
fun.
in the desert. This is not the desert. This is 6 to 7 miles of cornfield. It's a motocross track. It's a 7. Oh, it's so cool. And you know what? We just held Works, so World Off-Road Championships at Preston. The RMX kids that came out won motos. Like Gray Townsend won motos. Nixon Greenhall won motos on 65 class. Sawyer Geek won motos. Like, I want our local talent, our RMX talent, to come out to Preston for the National Grand Prix and just show the West what we have out here. Because it's cool.
Yeah,
It's
there's
cool.
a lot of speed out here.
We got to come up with, like, something. Like, extra poker chips, like a bribe. Like, Chase, we're working on this.
Yeah, we're going to brainstorm.
Yeah.
I like it.
You and I are brainstorming on this. Joe and I are brainstorming on course marking at Loretta's. Coy is going to rewrite the rule book. Sam's going to hold down the canopy. We're going to wrap this up a little faster.
Yes, we are in a storm.
Does the dust just kind of wrap it?
I mean, I would like to point out I did have my van blocking this, but Coy made fun of me, and now we're in a dust storm.
I was hot.
I would prefer this than being hot. Let's
Yeah.
wrap it up.
All right, yeah. Next round is in Preston after Loretta's. Yeah, we got RMX Academy this week, Monday. What days?
We've got Monday through what block number 4 is Monday through Wednesday. 1 day off. Block number 5 is Friday through Sunday, and then we're out.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's it. And thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you in Preston.